Police, fire, or ambulance.
It doesn't matter if it's the middle of the day or the middle of the night. First responders are willing to give their all to help a complete stranger. This affects first responders in multiple ways. Some of them live a life of nightmares, social isolation, broken marriages, alcohol and drug abuse, and worst of all, suicidal ideations.
Sometimes I just wanted it all to end.
And I walked up on the overpass, and just as I stepped over the railing to the other side.
How do they survive on a daily basis? How do they live a normal life? What do they do after the call?
My name's Cody Nielsen. I've been a volunteer firefighter on Vancouver Island here for just about 18 years. I joined when I was about 19 years old, and I have an excavation business when I'm not at the fire department.
My name's Chrissy. I started in emergency services in the fire department when I was 26. I went into nursing in 2009, and I've been working as an emergency registered nurse for 11 years, and 5 of those years as a clinical nurse leader.
My name is Ron. I've been working for BC Emergency Health Services for the past 12 years as a paramedic and dispatcher.
My name is Mark. I've been involved in the emergency services for over 28 years now. The last 23 years I've been working as a paramedic, and before that I was involved in the fire service.
Over the years, as a dispatcher and emergency medical call taker, I've answered countless 911s for the worst emergencies you could imagine. As a trained paramedic, I have multiple tools at my disposal to help somebody, but as a call taker, I only have one tool, and that is my voice. Sometimes this causes me great distress and feelings of helplessness, knowing that I could do more. This job has affected my mental health in a lot of ways. I lost a year of my life due to PTSD in 2022. I can barely remember that year because I isolated myself so much. Even though I was surrounded by people that I knew cared about me, I still felt really alone. I turned to alcohol and couldn't sleep and couldn't even get out of bed in the morning. And sometimes I just wanted it all to end. And that was the person, that was the Ron that my friends and family didn't deserve.
It's affected me because we constantly see the negative. We constantly see people losing family members and how upsetting that is. Like people's lives changing in a moment. And I've gone into a self-protection mode. I feel that I distance myself. I distance myself from family. I distance myself from friends because of that fear and the things that I've seen. And it's just absolutely horrifying in how horrible it is. I've heard people making noises that they say are just primal. That much suffering, that much pain. And I think my brain has just gone into this survival mode. One of the hardest parts is I would come home from dealing all that and expect to shut my brain off. It's not gonna happen. It's hard. you bring that with everywhere you go. You just carry it. You lay in bed and you just relive it and relive it. At the time, all sorts of crazy stuff happening, you deal with it. Because you do. Your brain just goes into work mode. You come home, it's quiet. You can't imagine what your brain's doing. It's just going ballistic, trying to process everything you've dealt with. We see things on a daily basis that people don't see in a lifetime, that you're not meant to see in a lifetime.
In my time doing this, I've dealt with incidents where I've seen friends, like close personal friends, get injured, and those who I don't know, but doing activities that I like to do myself, industrial accidents and motorcycle accidents and things like that. And I would say that it didn't occur to me to start with what was going on until I started talking to my counselor, but things like being hyper vigilant with my kids and always thinking about the worst case scenario in any given situation that we're in, of what could happen to them especially, and just being more grumpy towards my family sometimes, without really a reason. Like, I'm always thinking in the back of my mind when I'm doing things, what's the worst thing that could happen in this situation? And I guess it's kind of a double-edged sword, because it bothers me a little bit, but it also makes me be super aware of what I'm doing. And in my line of work that I do in my day job with my excavation business, I'm very mindful of the safety things. But it doesn't just turn off when I go home either. It sticks with me in certain situations. And even talking about it right now, I can feel the tingles going up and down my back and my arms. And yeah, you get some of these images from certain scenes that are just kind of burned into your memory when you think about that incident, I suppose. And yeah, I've been to some calls where like I said, it was my personal friend, that went to my wedding, and knowing just by what the call was, the location of the call, that it was an industrial accident, I knew it was going to be somebody I knew. And I ended up driving his pickup truck home from that scene that afternoon, and I cried all the way home, driving it back to my neighbor's house where he worked. And those are some of the ways that it's affected me.
Mental injuries have affected me over my career. I find that I'm not able to tolerate daily life some days. Noises, smells, sounds, tastes, I become hyper aware of it, and it becomes very overwhelming. There are times that I have longer periods, that I'm not able to sleep at night because either of nightmares or just frequent waking. I recognize every little sound, but I also can't hear people directly talking to me. And I just get so overwhelmed that I have to leave the room or leave the place that we're at. Or sometimes I don't leave the house because I just can't be out in the community that day. I'm thinking of all the bad things that could happen, and I am not enjoying my life. Or I'm so irritable that I'm yelling at my loved ones for no reason that I shouldn't be. And then I get the immense guilt after that for yelling at my loved ones and causing them mental distress. One particular evening, it had been a long shift and not a lot of staff. And a young man came in with his father, and he didn't look well. And while trying to keep him alive and send him out, I come out of the trauma room for a brief second to be accosted by a drunk female screaming at me that I don't care about people and I don't care that she's injured, and which I never do. I just screamed back at her that I didn't care about her, and I didn't care that she was in pain because I was trying to keep someone's child alive. That morning, it was a night shift. I went home, and I tried to get some sleep, but I couldn't. And my son was doing something that I'd asked him not to. And so I went in his room and I said, please, I told you not to do that. And he said, well, I don't remember. And then I just snapped. I opened his door again and I said, I don't care what you do. And I closed his door, and then my room was directly across the hall. And I opened and slammed that door as hard as I can, trying to put the door through the wall about 11 times, smashing things in my room. And then 5 minutes later, I came out and he was gone because he was scared I was going to hurt him. And at that point, I considered taking my own life. That took me off work for a little while. And then I got back to work, and I definitely went back too soon. And within the first 2 days of working, I realized that I wasn't able to do my job like I used to, and that I felt I wasn't helping anyone, and that I was more of a burden to my family, society. And so I was driving my truck, and I pulled off on the side of the road, and I texted my best friend, and I said, this is where my truck is, and the keys are under the seat, and I'm sorry. And I walked up on the overpass, and just as I stepped over the railing to the other side, my brother appeared out of nowhere behind me and grabbed me from behind. And then police showed up and tied me to the bridge until they could get me to come off the edge.
One of the things I like to do is surround myself with the people that I love, especially my husband, Steve. We really like to travel and experience different places, different cultures, different foods, and a lot of craft beer. When I'm not around him, I like to do is escape on my motorcycle into the forest where I camp and enjoy the peace and quiet of the woods. When neither of these are accessible, I practice mindfulness, where I find the peace and calm no matter where I am.
I like to spend a lot of time with my kids, with my boys and my wife. We go camping a lot, and my boys love to go out riding in the side-by-side, so we do that. And then, believe it or not, running my equipment, because that's my passion, is running equipment, and especially when the boys like to come up there and ride along with me in the yard when we're doing things. It's like the best feeling ever, and it just takes my mind off of the bad things that are going on in the world and bad things that I've seen or experienced. Just puts me into a feeling of, it's very humbling, and it's just like the best place I want to be, I suppose, because I've just seen how it can be taken away so quickly or altered so quickly, and the time that we have with our family, especially with our kids, is so limited. That's probably my biggest fear, is missing out on those things. And so I try to make the most of it in ways, like doing these types of things with the boys, and they love it too, so that's the best part.
There are things that I do differently to help ease my stress. If there's been a particularly hard day, or if I'm having a lot of memories of certain cases and I'm feeling really unsettled, then I have a drum kit that I purchased a year and a half ago, and I just go out into the garage, put on my headset and beat at it so that I can get that energy and that negative energy out of my body, to release it, because otherwise it just makes me sick, physically sick, emotionally sick. And then there's other times when I can offload with my family, and we can take my boat out and we go fishing, or we just cruise around lakes and we do things together that are fun and relaxing, and that really helps fill my cup now that I'm back at work and things are different. These are strategies I never had in the past. I'm from the generation that you just suck it up and do it. You don't show emotion, you don't have emotion. That definitely didn't serve me in this life, especially in this career. I take taking care of people very seriously, and it's an emotional job, and it would get to you every single day if you didn't have outlets.
One of the things I like to do is I like to ride my motorcycle. And I don't mean ride my motorcycle on a nice casual ride. I like to give her. I like to get in the bushes and just go flat out. It's the adrenaline, the focus that you need to be doing to do that activity just clears your mind. It doesn't clear your mind, you are just focused on the task at hand, nothing else. No intrusive memories can come in there, nothing along that line. You feel alive. I like to hike my dogs here in the natural forests. And one of the reasons why I like to do that is because it's so quiet and it's so calm, I can just get away. I can start to process my thoughts and I can think about just how nice it is and quiet it is. I love to watch the dogs. I like to watch them run and just know how happy and carefree and unstressed they are. And you know what? Dogs are smart. They're incredibly smart. They can watch you, and if you're having a bad day, it's amazing what they can do. They won't go far from you. They will be there for you, and yet they will show you that you can be free. I've always had this saying that people have asked me, what's it like to save a life? I don't know, but if you want to know what it's like to save a life, ask my dog. Because my dogs have done so much for me, you will never know the true love, the unjudgmental, and them just being there for you. They don't care what kind of day you've gone. They don't care what you've done. They don't care what you're going through. They are just there. And for that, you can only be truly thankful and embrace it and enjoy it.
For those new first responders, which I was, it seems like not that long ago, but it's been a while. I would say to just talk about things with each other and keep an eye on each other. It's becoming less and less taboo to talk about it now. There was a time where it was, just man up, they would say, and don't talk about it. Don't just suck it up. I've had that told to me by others in the past, and it's not right. You need to talk about it with people, because chances are if you're feeling off, you're not the only one. And that's why it's so important to have a debrief and realize that you are there to help. You're there to make the situation better, and you're doing the best that you can in the moment with what you have. And you never created the situation that you're going to help in. And that's the one that's always stuck with me, is you didn't create this. You were there to help and try and make it better. And it's out of your control.
Don't make emergency services your entire life. A lot of us did. A lot of us only hang out with paramedics, police officers, firefighters, nurses, military. Don't do that. Yes, have that circle of friends. Yes, tell your stories, swap war stories, use the dark humor, use that type of coping techniques to distance yourself from situations you're involved in.
My advice for the up-and-coming future emergency workers and frontline staff is to set yourself up for success. And Establish boundaries with yourself, with your family, with your job. Reach out, find a counselor that is a good fit for you. Whether you need them now or not, you do. There are things that you're going to see, hear, smell, taste that are going to stay with you. And if I could give any recommendation, it would be to find some people close to you that you can talk to. Have a friend that you can call at 3 a.m. when you can't sleep, or a loved one, and just unload what's on your mind. Don't do like we did and just suffer in silence. That's all we've ever done, is suffer in silence.
One of the pieces of advice that I would give to the next generation of first responders is trying to stay active. That's because exercise is sometimes known as the best natural antidepressant. Another piece of advice would be try and be self-aware and listen to those around you. Don't be afraid to seek professional help when you're operating in the red.
I would say it's pretty similar with, anybody as it is for us first responders, is to open up about it and talk about it. No, you don't feel ashamed about your feelings. If something is bothering you, you're not alone. So yeah, just to talk about it, seek counseling.
And I could give some advice to you, is write it down. Journal it out. When you write it down and you close it into a book, it's in that book now. Get it out of here. It is not living there rent-free. It is not your responsibility to harbor those thoughts.
Something that I've found works really well for people going through a tough time is the saying, "This too shall pass." When we find ourselves in a dark place, we think we're going to be stuck there forever. We just need to believe that things will get better.
Don't struggle silently. Don't not tell people. That's how you get yourself into trouble. You take on more than you need to, and then you get into the self-doubt. And you need to be more aware of what's going on around you and reach out to those that love you and that you trust and let them know what's going on, because there's lots of help out there when you ask for it. It's just that no one asks for it because we don't want to seem weak.
A lot of people think you have to be cold-hearted to do this job, but as you can see, it's the exact opposite. Most of these people care so much about their fellow humans that they will continue to do their job regardless of how it affects them. They continue to care because it's not a job to them, it's a calling. When I chose to make this documentary, I handpicked these 3 people, not only because they are amazing at what they do, but I think they feel the same as I do. I am beyond honored to call each and every one of these people, not just my colleagues, but more importantly, my friends.